The South African Union of Students has railed against varsity fee increases. The Department of Education has recommended a fee increase of 5.1%. Some varsities have reportedly raised fees by 8% or more. To discuss, we're joined by Yandisa Ndzoyiya, South African Union of Students President. Ms. Ndzoyiya, thank you for being with us. So we know, with unemployment, the rising cost of living, this is tough for many students and their parents. It's just hard.
Thank you very much, and greetings to you and the listeners. I think generally we have a crisis in the country. Number one, people are losing jobs, so they can't afford to pay. Number two, there's a very high demand of higher education because it becomes difficult now to be compatible in the labor market without necessary skills and qualifications from higher education. So we have been speaking to government that there must be a way to monitor and regulate institutions so that they don't increase these fees, because it becomes a moving target for government to fund education. As much as you will see that government will try to increase funds, but the fees are continuously increasing, and this only does not only affect students that are funded by government. The missing middle students who are not funded by government are struggling very much, and they are the largest contributors of the student debt, which is now 16.5 billion rand, excluding the current registration cycle, meaning that in the next year or two, if we keep increasing fees, the missing middle students will fall out in the system and will be left with only those who are affording privately and those who are funded by government. Yeah. And government sooner or later will run out of budget, because you can't keep applying austerity measures of cutting budget from other departments to fund education. Hence, then we're saying to government, there must be a way of monitoring how the fees are increased and for what purposes are the fees increased, because universities are not meant to be making profit, but they are supposed to be running at a stable state where they are able to sustain themselves over years. So isn't the issue of fees?
Yeah, Mr. Ndzoyiya, isn't the answer pretty simple, even though it is hard for the students? But the universities themselves also face rising costs. So a recommendation of 5.1%, we know inflation, the rate at which costs are rising is above our target of 6%. So that'll already be hard for the universities that are just trying to keep the same level of service for the same amount of students every year. Isn't this just economics, unfortunately?
No. Yes, basic economics. Fortunately, I did economics. Remember, when institutions increase by 5.1, they say inflation plus 5.1. Their basis is not only below inflation. They are saying inflation plus 5.1, which is 7.4 plus the 5.1. Now, I think if the institutions maybe were increasing at the inflation rate for sustenance, it would have been better. But now they add the additional rate. But also we're saying now, we have been engaging government on it, saying that there is high demand and also there is scarcity of resources. Let us look into the possibility of expanding and opening spaces through blended learning. Of course, with blended learning, we will be able to produce graduates at the same time try to cut on cost, where you will not be accommodating students, there will be less allowances sent to students, there will be less administrative work done by institutions, but only which will be online. But the major challenge that we'll have to address if we are to pass when it comes to blended learning, it's an issue of load shedding. That's the major challenge that we'll be facing if the institutions will take the road of the blended learning.
Aren't the universities heading that way? We've certainly reported on blended learning options this year. Is that not happening already?
No. What institutions are doing, they are sticking with the constraints of COVID. They have not increased their target, their enrollment targets because of the blended learning. They have not yet adopted fully the blended learning, but they've been using it because of the COVID. Now we are saying there are currently two streams of studying in an institution. There is full-time, there is part-time. Now we must introduce the third one, which is the blended learning. And we must be direct when we're dealing with it in making sure that students who are able to study through the blended learning must be admitted. This will also speak unto the numbers of students that are admitted. For example, speaking to you now, Out of the 900,000 matriculants that wrote, 720 of those matriculants passed, and 276,000 of those passed with the bachelor's, meaning that they are qualifying to be in higher learning. But spaces made available are around 12,000 because institutions are talking about spaces. Now we're saying, had they employed the strategy of blended learning, the space will not be a worry because students will be working both in the three streams, full-time, part-time, and blended learning. That's what we're introducing to cut costs. But also we're saying government must introduce a single coordinated system so that it does not become 45,000 to start the LLB in Musu, and it becomes 98,000 to start the same LLB in Z. There must be a way of managing how these fees are increased so that they don't become exclusive to those who do not afford paying the fees.
All right, I've got time for a quick question, and not moving away from the economics. You spoke about the high demand, and we know that that happens every year, the scramble to get into varsities. We also know that, unfortunately, some of those graduates, even once they've graduated, will remain unemployed. And experts have spoken about the gap between what people are studying and what the economy needs. So my question to you, is there any role for the SA Union of Students, perhaps, to guide students? Talk about those things that not everybody knows about, how much plumbers earn, what sort of skills, technical skills are needed, what sort of technical options there are. Is there any role for students to help other students there?
Yes, definitely there is a role, and we've been engaging that role for the past year, and this year even we engaged with the minister. For the first time in 2022, we received a report of the enrollment targets of the SCAR skills. We know that there are qualifications and programs that are referred to as SCAR skills, your pharmacy, your medicine, your engineering, and all these qualifications. Now we're saying to institutions, it does not make sense to open 800 spaces for PA and open 50 spaces for farmers, whilst all these students are funded by government. We need to be specific in our enrollment targets, and we need to open more spaces around the SCAR skills. And also, government must be direct on programs offered. For an example, it does not make logical sense for a TVET college to offer office management, because TVET college should be giving vocational skills. It does not make sense for a student to go to a TVET college to do public management. And there are qualifications that we have agreed with government that we call a legacy program that must not be funded, must not be offered to students because they've been cancelled even by chair. They are known for the fact that if you enroll in that qualification, you won't be employable in the sector. So it becomes a criminal activity for institutions to offer a qualification that they know for a fact that they will not get to employed in the sector. Now we need to be responsive to the demand of the labor market in the country, be responsive to our economy. We can't keep doing public management and VA whilst we know that we will not be employable with those qualifications. And the major challenge that we have, there's a last comment, it's only an issue of spaces. You see now students have applied for their choices, but immediately when they don't get their choices, they will start saying, I want anything for as long as I'm admitted. You wanted to be an engineer, you end up doing theology because you just want to leave and go to start because you don't want to stay until you start. And that's why we're saying institutions must be specific in opening spaces in certain enrollment targets.
And you're right, the space to get involved here is huge. Thank you for that. Yandisa Ndzoyiya, South African Union of Students President.